Alright, my dear learners, I greet you all in the name of our Almighty. Let me hope that you are doing well, everything's moving well. This is lesson 19. I thank you for moving with me all along from where we started. Okay, so we bless the Lord. So as usual, we start with our word banks. We have our words here which we are going to spell and get to remind ourselves. So we are going to start with this word here. This word is sperm. It is a sperm. So this is a sperm, and we say that a sperm is a gamete. And which gamete is this one? It is a male gamete, and this male gamete is produced by a gonad. Remember, we said a gonad is an organ. A gonad is an organ that can produce a gamete. So the gonad that produces this gamete, it is called the testis. Remember, we said tests, when it's one we use I, when there are very many we use E, testis. Then we have another word here. This is plate. This is platelet. Then to form one word as platelet. Or if you want to call them platelets in plural, you add S only. Now some people make this one a mistake spelling this word platelet, and they write it a plate with late, this late coming. No, this is wrong. So platelets, these are the one of the components of blood. Remember, we said blood has 4 components: the red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, then again we have the platelets, these ones, and also we have the plasma. Now these platelets, for them, they help in clotting of blood, that is blood clotting in case of an injury. So they just come around the injured part, the wound. They form a network like structure. Then this net will stop the blood cells from passing through. Thus blood has been clotted. So we have this word here. It is ear canker, and ear canker is a disease which attack our domestic animals, and these domestic animals are the rabbits. It is not ear cancer, it is ear canker. It is ear canker which can affect our rabbits, the ears of our rabbits. And then apart from ear canker, they can also suffer from what we call the snuffles. These rabbits can also get the pneumonia. They can get pneumonia, snuffles, ear canker, and also they don't want colds. And now from there we have another word here. This is urethra. If you remember, when we looked at the male reproductive system, we looked at what we call the urethra. If you just take a flashback, this is the urinary bladder, then it has the urethra, this one. Then here we have our ejaculatory gland. Then from another, and here from this gland is coming from the vas deferens. Vas deferens are coming from the sperm duct, then just like this. So here, so this tube here where we are having now the penis, this is the head of the penis. Then this tube between our penis, inside the penis, sorry, it is called the urethra. And the importance of this urethra, it lets out urine. Yeah, it lets out urine, the passage of urine. At the same time, it is the passage of the sperms in males. That is called urethra. Then again, we have another term here. This is test. It is test, then test, then te. So it is test, te. So test, te. Round. So this is testosterone. It is a hormone, and this hormone is responsible for bringing what we call the secondary sex characteristics in boys, as we discussed. Remember, we said secondary sex characteristics, we are looking at the physical features that we use to differentiate between a mature man and a mature woman. So what brings those characteristics, like the beard, pubic hair, sweaty glands becoming active, becoming more sexually, like all those, and is this hormone testosterone, which is produced by the tests. Therefore, tests don't produce sperms only, but also produce a hormone called testosterone. So we have another word here. This is amoeba. This word is amoeba. So amoeba, it is a unicellular organism, and we can't see it with our naked eyes. It is microscopic, and this amoeba is under a class called the protozoa. And we have a deadly amoeba which is called Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica. histolytica. This entamoeba histolytica, it is responsible for what? For causing what we call amoebic dysentery. Amoebic what? Amoebic dysentery. We remember we have two types of dysentery, amoebic dysentery and bacillary dysentery. So this one is estrogen. This one is the estrogen. If you remember the menstruation cycle, we say that this estrogen is produced as a result of the follicles within the ovary maturing into an ovum. So each follicle, as it is maturing by the help of the follicle stimulating hormone, each follicle is now going to release a hormone called estrogen, which helps to repair the endometrium. Endometrium, that is the uterus lining. The word becomes estrogen, and this estrogen is also responsible for bringing the secondary sex characteristics in females, the breasts, hips, the face becoming more attractive, the voice becoming smooth, and so on. Last, we have this word sunin. So we have TSA in mathematics. It is total surface area. In science, it stands for Toggenburg. This one is Toggenburg. Then S is standing for Sanen, and A stands for angular. It is angular. Then Nubian, capital N, Nubian goats. So these are what we call the milk breeds of goats. Embuzi ezamachi ezamata. So the milk breeds of goats. The best milk producers, we have the Toggenburg, the Sanen, and the Anglo-Nubian goats. So our word number one was Sanen. We have sperm. There is platelet, estrogen. There is amoeba. We have testosterone, urethra, and ear canker. Alright, so let us go to our diagram for today. So today's diagram, we are going to look at measurements. So we are going to look at what we call measurements. So in measurements, I'm going to spot out three major terms. One, we have the term mass. Two, there is the term which we call density. And three, there is this term which is called the term called volume. So we have volume, density, and mass. Then what is volume? So volume is the total space occupied by any object. So volume is the total space occupied by any object. Then what is mass? Mass is the quantity of matter a body contains. Quantity of matter a body contains. So mass is the quantity of matter a body contains. Now quantity means amount. Quantity means amount. So it is the amount of matter a body does what? A body contains. Then and this mass is measured in kilograms, and sometimes it is measured in grams using the weighing scales, the beam balance, the spring balances. Now density, it is the result of mass and volume. So density is mass per unit volume. So it is very simple, mass per unity volume, that is density. Now we are going to dwell at volume here. Now when we look at this volume, we have volumes of one regular objects. So these objects with a definite shape, so well defined shape. And also have irregular objects. So these irregular objects are the objects whose shapes are not well defined. Whose shapes are not well defined. Now we are going to look at the methods of finding the volumes of irregular shaped objects, like the stones, like the keys. We have potatoes. We have shoes. We have mangoes, broken glasses, nails, and so on. So the method we use is called the displacement method. It is called displacement method. It is called displacement method. Now this displacement method involves two containers, and these containers, one, it is called the eureka, and if you don't call this one the eureka, you can call it the overflow can. Then apart from this, we also have what we call the measuring cylinder. The measuring what? The measuring cylinder. Now when look at this one is showing us the displacement method. Let us get a good color which can show this one clearly. So this one is showing us the displacement method. This one is a string. So I think you are seeing the use of the string. So the string here, it is used to hold the irregular object. That's one. Then we are having this container. Then this container, it is called the eureka. It is called what? A eureka. If you don't call it the eureka, it is an overflow can. It is an overflow can. Then this overflow can has this part here, and this part is called the spout. So the importance of the spout is to let out water. And again, this one is called the measuring cylinder. So it is calibrated. It has figures here: 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, meaning that between 10 and 20 it is 15, between 20 and this one it is 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, then 50, like that. Now, so this one, its importance is to measure the volume of displaced water. Now, so this is the eureka or overflow can. Then this is the irregular object. This is the string holding it. This is the spout. Then this is the measuring what? A cylinder. Still applying to this one. These are also measuring cylinders. Now, how do you get volume when we are using this method here? To get volume using this method, it is very simple here. When you for example, let me draw mine here. If we have this is the spout, then we have this one, then I put my eureka here, then it is 0, then 10, then this is 20 cc, that is 10 cubic centimeters. Now here this is the water is stopping here. Then when I put in the irregular shaped object, it is going to displace water here where it is occupying. Then this water is going to rise up, because here it is open, then the water is going to drip inside here. Now when the water drips up to here, then after stopping dripping, then I'm going to come and take the reading where the water has stopped. So let us assume that the water has stopped at 10. Therefore the volume of this stone, it is going to be 10 cubic cubic units here. So same applying to this one. This measuring cylinder 1, so it is showing us that here before immersing in the stone, the water was at 50 milliliters. Then when they immersed in the stone, then the water rose from 50 to 75 milliliters. Then here we have two volumes. We have the first volume and we have the second volume. Now to get the volume of the water that has been displaced, because the volume of that water which has been displaced is equivalent to the volume of the irregular object, we are getting the range or the difference. So how do you get a difference? Then it will be the second volume with so 75 milliliters minus 25 milliliters. So what's the difference here? Let us first reduce the thickness here, so we get at least 1. So we are getting that 75 milliliters minus 25 minus 50. It is the first level was 50. Let us rub this. So 50 milliliters. So the difference is going to be 25 milliliters. So this one makes our volume. So to be 25 milliliters for this displaced as water, which was displaced by this irregular object. So this is what we call a displacement method, which was discovered by a scientist called Archimedes. Alright, so that has been the science diagram within this lesson. Let us continue with our lesson, our topic, human body. So my dear learner, today we are going to look at an interesting thing. This is going to be fertilization. However, some of you pronounce this one as fertilization. That is wrong. It is pronounced as fertilization. So we are going to look at fertilization and gametes. All along we've been talking about gametes, fertilization, what now. We are going to study them into details. So let us start with fertilization to get a definition. So fertilization is the union of a male and a female gamete. Is the union of a male and a female gamete to form a zygote. So there is that common question: what is the immediate result of fertilization? So the immediate result of fertilization is called a zygote. So fertilization is the union of a male and a female gamete to form a zygote. So what is our male gamete? So the male gamete here we are referring to as sperm. So what is the female gamete? The female gamete here, it is going to be an ovum. So before going any further, let us look at the structure of a sperm. Now when you look at this sperm, it has 4 parts or 4 regions. 1, it has the head. 2, it has the neck. Then 3, it has what we call the middle piece. It has the middle piece here. Then 4, it has the tail. Now let us take the diagram here, but before taking the diagram, this head is divided into 2. The head has the nucleus, and also it has what we call the acrosome. Now this nucleus of the sperm, it contains what we call the chromosomes. These are thread-like structures, and these chromosomes are carrying what we call the DNA characteristics or DNA material, which is going to determine the sex of a child, the color of a child, the size, the height, and so on. Now this acrosome, it is going to contain what we call sperm lysosomes. Sperm lysosomes. So sperm lysosomes are the enzymes that help to digest the plasma membrane of an ovum, such that the sperm penetrates or enters inside it to cause a fertilization. Alright, let us take the diagram here. For the sperm, we are going to start with the nucleus. So the nucleus, it is pointed like this one, then it makes a small bulge in here. Then at the top of this nucleus, it has a cup-like structure. Now this cup-like structure is what we call the acrosome, which produces what we call sperm lysosomes. Those are the enzymes that help in the digestion of the ovum layers. Then here it has what we call centrioles, and there are 2. We have this centriole, which is called the proximal centriole. We shall understand what it does in details. And then this head, this is the nucleus. Now the nucleus and acrosome are embedded into the plasma membrane, and this is the plasma membrane. So this one is the plasma membrane. Then on coming here, it's going to form a narrow tube here. So this narrow tube here, it is what we call the neck. So this one is the neck. So within the neck, we are going to form another centriole. Then this centriole is going to form what we call filaments. Now there are going to be very many filaments like this, very many. Now from here, we are going to form another bulge, and this other bulge here is what we call the middle piece. So this one is what we call the middle piece. Now inside the middle piece, we are having what we call the mitochondrion. Mitochondrion in singular. When they are very many, we call them mitochondria. So mitochondria, these are the cells that are responsible for manufacturing or making energy. Remember, these sperms contain sugars, so they are rich in carbohydrates. So these carbohydrates are good at producing energy, because this sperm need to swim. So here we are having spindle-like mitochondrion, like this. So these mitochondrions, they are found in the middle piece, containing in the middle piece, responsible for producing energy. Then after that, we are going to get this last part here, and this last part is what we call the tail. So the tail is there to help the sperm to lash as it is moving forward. Then the energy it uses to lash this tail to push itself forward, it is produced from the middle piece. So this one is the head, then the neck, then the middle piece, then also the the tail. So this is our sperm. Then let us look at it. And remember, we said the sperms are produced by the testes. Then let us look at the ovum. So this ovum, it has this one, the egg membrane. Then the egg membrane, inside there we are having the polar body. This one is the polar body. Then it has a big nucleus. This one is the big nucleus. Then it has the cytoplasm there. So this is the ovum, and this is the the sperm. Now when this is sperm, this is the sperm, this is the ovum. When the sperm meets with the ovum, that is the process called fertilization. And this meeting or union, it occurs within what we call the oviduct or the fallopian tube. So fertilization occurs within the oviduct or fallopian tube. All right, so let us continue with our journey of fertilization. Then during the process of fertilization, before fertilization takes place, we have what we call the couple of events. We have the events that have to take place first, and the first event, it is called ovulation. It is called ovulation. Remember from the previous lessons we discussed ovulation, and we said this is the process by which the ovary releases the mature ovum from the follicles by the help of luteinizing hormone secreted by the pituitary gland, because the pituitary gland has been signaled by what we call excessive levels of estrogen. Anyway, let me hope that you understand that. Now from the ovulation, we are going to have what we call copulation or copulation. This is the mating, the union of the male and the female pattern. Then from the mating, we are going to have fertilization. Sperms are going to be ejaculated. The egg is already there waiting. Then from fertilization, the zygote is going to be formed. After the zygote has been formed, it is now going to move from the fallopian tube by the help of the villi within the fallopian tube to sweep it down the endometrium. Then it's going to start implanting itself onto the endometrium wall, and that one is called implantation. Then after this implantation, we are now going to finally say the animal has conceived, and that is conception. Then from conception here, we are going to go to what we call a birth. So this is the order of events. If we are to make a baby, we start with ovulation, we go to mating, then fertilization, number 3, implantation, then conception, and birth, the last one. So where we are going, we shall discuss birth. Now the time taken from conception to birth, this one is called the gestation period. Some people pronounce this one as gestation, so it is the gestation period. Like in man, it is 9 months. Then cows also 9 months. Then pigs, those are 114 days, that is 3 months, then 3 weeks and 3 days. Then the sheep and the goats, they take 150 days, that is 5 months. All right, now so during the process of fertilization, in one ejaculation, a man produces 3 to 3.5 mils of sperms, and this one is equivalent to 200 to 300 sperms in one ejaculation. Why are these sperms very many in only one ejaculation, and a man can make like 3 or 4 ejaculations? Then why are they very many like this? They are very many because these sperms, when they are swimming, they are going to find challenges or the barriers. One of the barriers, we have what we call acidic uterus walls. So the uterus and the vagina, they are acidic, so some sperms are going to be killed by this acidic condition. Then number 2, these sperms are going to be entangled or are going to be killed by the villi. Remember, they are swimming within the oviduct, whereby in the oviduct we have very many finger-like structures that are moving. So in the case of searching for the mature ovum where it is, then they get killed by the villi, so they don't make it, they don't reach. So if the sperms were too little, then fertilization wouldn't have taken place because of these challenges. Then another challenge is the thick contraction of the uterus walls. Remember, we said this endometrium is too thick and it is contracting. So as it is contracting, then they are going to be locked up within these bulges here. Thus, they are going to die. So that's why the sperms have to be very many in order to increase the chances of survival. To increase their chances of survival. Then what helps these sperms to move through all this? One, their lashing effect. So they have the tail that enables them to move forward. And 3, they produce what we call a prostaglandin tropulin. Tropulin hormone. So this hormone, it helps to do what? to cause the contraction of the vagina. You know, the vagina is large. Now when the sperms are deposited inside the vagina, immediately they are going to produce that hormone. Then that hormone or that chemical is going to cause the quick contraction of the vagina, then it becomes narrower, thus increasing the pressure, which pushes the sperms forward. Okay. So I think you've understood that. So after that, we are going to look at the process of fertilization. It has taken place. So these are the challenges that these sperms meet, and also how they overgo about the challenges. Now, before leaving again the gametes here, let us look at the types of sperms. So we have two types of sperms. We have the sperms that carry the X chromosomes, and also the sperms that carry the Y chromosomes. So where we are going, we shall see how important this is. So this one is important when we are looking at the sexing of the children or of a baby. So we shall see that one in the next lessons. So after you've understood that, let us look at what we call types of fertilization. Types of fertilization. One, we have what we call external fertilization. Then two, we have the internal fertilization. So external fertilization is the type of fertilization that takes place outside the body of a female animal, and this is a characteristic of animals like the amphibians and also the fish. So we have the amphibians and the fish. So if we talk of amphibians, we mean the frogs, the toads, the salamanders, and the newts. Then in turn, when you look at these animals, then the female animal releases the eggs as the male animal sheds sperms onto them. This one occurs outside the body of a female animal, thus the name external fertilization. Then internal fertilization is the type of fertilization that occurs inside the body of a female animal, and this is a characteristic of mammals, we human beings, then the birds, then also the reptiles like the snakes, crocodiles, and tortoises. Now these birds and reptiles, they have to first mate. Then the male bird ejaculates, then releases sperms inside the body of a female animal, a female bird. Then those sperms are going to cause fertilization of the eggs inside there. Then after fertilization, the egg is going to be laid out. So they come out when they are fertilized. Apart from these layers, the laying birds you keep at home, the eggs for them, they don't get cocks. So the eggs they lay, they are not fertilized, thus they don't hatch into chicks. Alright, so that has been enough for today. Let us now do the assignment. Number 1, define the term fertilization. Define the term fertilization. Define the term fertilization. Number 2, mention the two types of fertilization. Number 3, where does fertilization take place in a female animal? In a female animal. Number 4, in the space below, draw a sperm and label all the parts. Number 5, define the following terms. One, puberty. 2, adolescence. Then 3, menstruation. Number 6, write down 2 secondary sex characteristics common in both boys and girls. Number 7, state the difference between growth and development. Between growth and development. Number 8, how best the volume of stone obtained. Number 9, what does a spider use to breathe? Number 10, give one example of an egg-laying mammal. Alright, you've been a good learner. Please do the assignment and the notes there and send the assignment for approval. We meet in the next lesson.